What's up, y'all? It's T-Tar, and it's another Riddler Khu day. So we're gonna look at the latest teases for the Indigo Disk and Terapagos that he's posted. So last time, of course, we left off with this, where he posted a picture of Terapagos and hinted the nature of its ability, that it's defensive, which could work for all three of its forms. Maybe it's a totally defensive Pokemon, which is kind of how you imagine turtles anyway. And also, if it's an imagination Pokemon, you imagine it being stationary and slow and casting all this illusory power. We made a whole video talking about what the defensive abilities could be, but it's gonna end up being something completely new at this rate. I mean, the dude has a 19th Terra type. So anyhow, now we move to the later tweets. So the next teaser he posts is this. He puts a picture of Terapagos and a picture of Arceus and asks, whose BST is higher? So Arceus at one point had the highest BST in the game at 720. Pokemon were not coming close to it. Kyogre and Groudon are 670, Dialga and Palkia are 680, but they generally stayed around there. Then you got to like Zapdos and all, who stayed around like the 570s, 580s. Mew, Celebi, and all the other mythicals were 600. So Arceus was at a whole other tier. In fact, Arceus was like a super mythical Pokemon, where it had that stat spread of 120 in every stat, like the mythicals like Mew and Celebi, but a powered version that bumped it past the 700s to 720. But in recent Pokemon games, as we're introducing gimmicks and all, they've started to get closer to what Arceus's BST is, like Kyurem. Now Kyurem is 660, but when it fuses with one of the dragons, it reaches 700. It's the first Pokemon to break it after Arceus, though it's not quite Arceus. But then in Sword and Shield, if Zacian and Zamazenta wear their Sword or Shield, they hit 720. They are the strongest Pokemon naturally in the game if you take out Arceus. And then in Scarlet and Violet, they got nerfed back to 700, which put Arceus back up there. Now, why I'm saying this is because I think that Sucker has a higher BST. I think Terapagos will surpass Arceus. Okay, not only is Terapagos wielding all 18 types to such perfection in some way that it's on its back, not only is it possibly capable of producing dreams, but it's so unique it has a 19th type, accidentally creating all of these giant crystals down in Area 0, probably without meaning to. It's probably even sleeping in Area 0. Dude's been sleeping for like 2,000 years probably. Terapagos is clearly so overpowered, he is breaking that Arceus. Now, there is one other thing to mention. Eternatus. So Eternatus has something interesting going on. Its base stats are higher unusually than like Rayquaza, Dialga, and Palkia at 690. And then when it Eternamaxes, I don't know if these base stats count, but it shatters some crazy walls. It's like 1400. Now, I'm pretty sure they just did that because they wanted to make it a boss. But at the same time, there are different ways to make it a boss. Like just give it the Ultra Necrozma boost on top of some normal base stats. So maybe they're hinting that if Eternatus is pushed to that level, being the origin of the Dynamax gimmick, that actually is what its power is. So in the same vein, I think Terapagos will break that as well. Now the question is, will Terapagos' Terrestrial form here break it? I'll say the Terrestrial form here, please be at least like 700. Especially if Koraidon and Miraidon are, what, 680? And they might be made out of thin air by Terapagos and based off some dreams. In fact, just make this man like 720. Just match Arceus. And then when we have to fight his chaotic form, make that hit 1400s as well. And if you're wondering why Terapagos and Eternatus are stronger than Arceus, they're not. That's not Arceus. It's just a random avatar he sends down. Alright, next teaser. So, Khu posts this. He posts a picture of the move Terra Blast. And then, you know, just a sucker thinking. And he says, what's the authentic name for this type? We can't call it a number all day, right? Pick unrelated. So, of course, all this time we're just calling it the 19th type. But I actually have some names for this. So, before they even announced the 19th type, when I was telling y'all that Terapagos is getting a new typing, the two names I gave out were the Terra type, which is weird because it's going to get confused for literal Terra types, or the Crystal type. Which Crystal sounds so fangamey, but you go to Area 0, it's everywhere. And crystals also refract light, giving you the vibrant brilliance of all the colors the same way, you know, all the typings would if you put them together. And then you got the picture here. You know, it's a whole rainbow. So those are two candidates, right? Crystal type, maybe rainbow type, light type. But you see, rainbow and light, they don't really have to do with Terapagos' power. Crystal is actually really close. And if not Crystal, like the Dream type, but I guess it works. I guess that works. Y'all let me know in the comments. I mean, let me know if you have a better one. Is it crystal? Dream type? It's so weird. Dream type sounds stupid until it sits for like 3 seconds. Then it makes sense. I mean, it's only a Terra type. Terapagos seems to be a dream Pokemon. It's like a typing that's uniting the 18 types. Dream doesn't actually sound far-fetched. I guess it would be a pretty epic reveal if after you finish fighting Terapagos and all, like a professor or someone comes up and names that typing the dream type. It also kind of seals better if everything that happened in Area Zero with Sarantor's inventions were really all their desires coming out. So hence Terapagos is a dream type. They use the dream energy to do it. I can't figure out if I like crystal or dream better. I mean, you know, actually let's see what some of the comments say for this. Marvel type or stellar type? I've never heard these words before. But Khu responded to this saying Xing Jing, which translates to Interpol, criminal police. Are you saying you're so criminally right? Ayo, don't be called a stellar type. Omni type makes sense. I guess Omni works. The Arcturus type. Arcturus is Spanish for... So that sounds like Arceus. Did they know what they were doing when they named Arceus that? It would be interesting if the name had like ancient sound to it. Like it was a Latin name for that 19th type to just date it back. Make it feel more foreign from our time period right now. But unless they discover the name of this type in ancient documents, I imagine someone would name the typing. So it would get a modern name. Wow, everyone's saying Omni type. Alright, well, y'all let me know in the comments. Moving on to the next teaser. So, Khu posts this photo. It's of the chaotic Terapagos. And he writes, its ability is dope. Now, this doesn't really give us much to go off. The abilities we were speculating in the last video was something relating to how the crown is shown in the trailer. So the way it pivots is maybe something caused by its ability. But the way we made that ability sound, it sounds like it's like a slow start. Like its only function is to make you weaker. Terapagos. So if he says its ability is dope, either we're wrong with that idea or that idea has like a positive function to it too. Or we just scrap that whole crown idea and assume the crown when you turn into the 19th type just all automatically functions like that. Like even the Baxcalibur that has the 19th Terra Blast, maybe it gets the same crown. Maybe it's not exclusive to Terapagos. And so you don't need ability to go with the crown. It just automatically does that pivot thing. If that even is something, sometimes Khu just makes things so obscure. But if we were to scrap all that, he's saying its ability is dope. What kind of chaotic ability could this thing get that he says its ability is dope? Because we're already putting this thing in the shoes of Eternamax Eternatus, which didn't have a useful ability. It was just like, what, pressure? Eternatus' ability was pressure, and Eternamax, I guess it's pressure too. And when it comes to these strong legendary Pokemon, Game Freak gives them the poo-pooest abilities. Like Mega Mewtwo has like steadfast. I might as well just say Mega Mewtwo has no ability. It's disgusting actually. Even Necrozma. Frick, I forgot about Necrozma. In Sun and Moon, Necrozma breaks Arceus' stats too. Nah. Forget Eternatus. Forget everything about Eternatus. We gotta compare Terapagos to Necrozma. So Necrozma, it wanders around with the 600 BST, but when you bring out that light overloaded form and it becomes Ultra Necrozma, it bumps up to 754, which is a number chosen to be the sum of all its base stats being prime numbers, because the Game Freak's playing with us is making us wonder if Necrozma is an Ultra Beast. But 754 is insane, and on top of that, it actually has a decent or a good ability, Neuroforce, which makes it so when you use a super effective move, it gets another 25% boost. Alright, see, this is exciting. This is more exciting than the Eternamax route. So if he writes, its ability is dope, that sounds like it would be more fascinating than Neuroforce. Because Neuroforce, it's cool and it's strong, but it doesn't have like a special flavor to it. You know, like for example, Primordial Sea or Desolate Land, or the Kraut Miraidon abilities. They've got some like unique flavor to them. Let's see what people think. Ooh! Ultra Necrozma kind of ability, availability wise, could relate. I have no idea what that means. I guess he's saying like only Terapagos gets it, which of course. What kind of colorful ability do you think this thing could get that he would write its ability is dope? So anyhow, putting together the Khu riddles, we now have a notion for all three of the Terapagos forms. So for baby Terapagos, he says the little one is immune to Weezing's gas. So this could be some kind of ability where it's just unaffected by enemy abilities. Maybe something as simple as that. Then we got middle form Terapagos. Its ability is defensive. So this could be something like the filter ability, where you take reduced damage from super effective moves, except maybe since it's the master of all types, it takes reduced damage from all moves, super effective or not. Kind of like an infinite multi-scale. Could you imagine it always just took 75% damage? This thing sounds like it would have that. But yeah, now he's teased the third form's ability, which is its ability is dope. Quite broad there, but all we gotta remember is the 3 abilities don't necessarily have to correlate with each other. So even though the first one sounds more defensive and the second one he said is defensive, the third one, the same way, it looks like he's taken a shift into being chaotic and offensive. I would like to imagine it's offensive. Alright, so next teaser. This one is in a different direction. Khu posts a picture of Spectrier and then Enamorous. And he writes, "Are you ready?" Now this could be taken as like a Smogon joke, like they're gonna be in a low tier, but let's not focus on that. These are actually the shinies for Spectrier and Enamorous. So it seems like what he's hinting is that in whatever the gauntlet of catching legendaries in this game is gonna be, that maybe they're not shiny locked. Kind of gives a cool vibe to imagine them being in the gauntlet now. Like we're so used to Kyogre and Groudon popping up again and again, Dialga, Palkia, but these dudes, now they're a part of the race. You're gonna see like a wild Enamorous. Well, not necessarily wild. I just hope it's done a bit more tastefully this time. A tiny bit more tastefully at the least. The ones in Ultra Sun and Moon, I think were better than Auras, because at least some of them you saw like the silhouettes of the Pokemon. So it gave like the illusion that they were standing static legendaries rather than you're just talking to the portal each time. I can't believe what we're fighting for. We're not even fighting for like anything important. All I want is really to put the legendaries standing there. Like it's like an impossible feat for this $3 trillion company. I'm pissed. I know deep down, prove me wrong, Game Freak. I know deep down you're not gonna do it, but prove me wrong. You know, last time I was saying put them in spots around the region where they fit and then have us encounter them like ROM hacks do. But I'm not even, I just want you to make them standing. In fact, you know what's crazy? Okay, so let's say the gimmick of this game is Dream Power, right? You can't make it so once we go to areas that are at the very end and meet the Dream Pokemon, that magically only to us, we can just encounter these legendaries scattered around Paldia in relevant locations. Like in a spooky forest, there's a Spectrier. Like they don't actually have to follow the consistency because it's a dream legendary. Just put them around the... I'm so pissed. No, Game Freak, I love you. I'm kidding. Like, you know, the same way after you do the Rayquaza incident in Auras, new Megastones have scattered all over the region. In the same way, after you do the Terapagos crap, there's just like a Groudon or Kyogre and Kitakami. A Latios or Latios roaming the skies. Freaking Kyurem chilling in one part of the terrarium. They don't actually have to make sense. This is the one game where you can actually Aspo successfully. You will make Pokemon fans so happy doing that simple thing. There's a huge fan base that sits there shiny hunting, resetting again and again, making living dexes and all. At least for them, give them the complete Pokemon vibes by being able to save in front of a legendary and reset for it. Anyhow, make sure to shank that like button. I will keep you posted if Khu posts more stuff, but let me know your thoughts on what Terapagos' abilities could be. And I guess let's still continue the debate. Dream versus time travel. Dream is winning by a long shot now. This sucker's not making a comeback. It's a dream Pokemon, y'all. Anyhow, I'll see you on the next video. Take care.